Well, good evening, everybody. And the numbers are coming, building up fairly quickly. A big welcome to everybody this evening. And we'll just change something because I've got something just a little wrong. Let's just put that on. There we go. That looks a bit better. We'll start as we mean to go on. So, who's in the auditorium this evening? Jill got there first and threw the towel on the front seat, but then went to make a cuppa. That's typical. Grahame H got there just outside of her. So good evening, Grahame. Good evening, Jill. Let me just make sure everything's working fine. Yeah, everything looks to be spot on, so that's okay. Who else have we got? Good evening, Richard. Welcome to you this evening. And Dane was the next to arrive. Hope you all put the money into the kitty so that it's building up nicely for the ice creams at the break. Who else is here? Paul. Good evening, Paul and Gail. Good evening, Vera. Caroline O. Good evening, Sue. Who else have we got? We have got Mr. Blaney. Good evening, Mr. Blaney. And we've got Alan as well. Good evening, Alan. Viv, good evening, Vivian. Hope you're keeping well. Who else is here? Caroline and Dave have popped in once again this evening. Good evening to both of you. And Bob's just popped in. What you got tonight, Bob? Is it brown or is it milky brown? Just wondering. So, right, just a quick notice to you all. If you haven't got it already, don't forget to go and find your list of entries for this evening. Jill sent it round to everyone, and you need to make sure that you have the revised one. So the revised one, of course, was the one which meant that unfortunately we had to knock the number 3 image off. So consequently that just reduced the numbers down. We had a fantastic entry. I think the initial entry was in the low to mid 90s. So, you know, brilliant entry from members who are not seeing each other. We're working in this way, but absolutely superb. So, you know, very well done to all of you who entered this evening. Well, this evening for the competition, and you'll see them this evening. Yeah, so make sure that you've got your entry forms. What I'm trying to say is your list of entries, so that you can follow along. Just checking on the bits and bobs again. Yeah. Who else is about? Michael. Good evening, Michael. I see you've just popped up. So, Jill's just said originally 97 entries. So, I thought it was low 90s, but it's high 90s. So, absolutely brilliant. Top hole. Well done to everybody that put them in. Just so that the ones of you who are the ones of you, is that good English? For those of you who are already here, the reason that they were taken off was simply because the judge felt that there was a few too many for him to judge in this way when he had to write down critique and everything else. So we did, and as you all know, do make sure that you send Jill your entry form so that if this happens, she will always take off. She's a cat's mother, but Jill will always take off the final one, number 3. So make sure that you put them in the preference that you want them to stay in. So basically, your weakest image wants to be number 3. So just make sure that your weakest image is number 3, just in case we have this happen again. I mean, I'm spluttering, but I am so sort of proud of the club by coming on these evenings and listen to me waffle on for a start, but also joining in with the competitions, even though we're in this period of uncertainty. Thankfully, as we all know, we're coming, fingers crossed, to the other side now. So let's just hope that we'll, in a month or two, whenever, we shall be back. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I keep popping to the old school because, as you all know, I'm a trustee at the old school. And at this moment in time, because the old floor in the main hall was getting a little weak, let's put it that way, I've had all of the floor taken out, and they've now got it all hardcored. The insulation's gone into the floor, and the plastic liner ready for the cement is now down. So in the next day or two, I've just seen a message. It's all right. I'll just for some strange reason, it must be your end because it's coming out okay at this end. So I've just put it up a little bit so that hopefully you can hear me okay now, Caroline. So just let me know if you can hear us okay. But you should be okay. So yes, back to the old school. The old school has now just ready and waiting for the ready mix to go in there. And one thing that you'll all be very happy about is when we get back to doing an evening's photography in the main hall, as people walk past, you'll not miss the shot. We all know it was a little bit bouncy in there, so let's hope that that's now eliminated it. So there's no need for everybody to fight over going in the back room. So, right, a few more people have popped in. Should be okay, Caroline, now, because people are saying that it's okay where they are. So, good evening, Neil. Neil's come in. Good evening, Ray. Hope you're feeling a little bit better, Ray. Fingers crossed for you, and you'll soon be up and doing the marathon each day as usual. Hi, Richard. We've seen Richard and everybody else. So we're at 7 o'clock. So we've got... Doreen's just popped in. Well done, Doreen. You've only just made it. So welcome to you watching it on a big screen in the car park. Okay, that's like driving, isn't it? Okay, right. I'm going to just get one or two things ready. At this moment in time, there is no notices or anything, so we're just going to pop on. I'm just looking for my piece of paper because I think I have got one. I have actually. 6th of August is our next competition, which, if I remember rightly, I shall be judging, and that one is straight from camera. The entries need to be in by 30th of July in your Dropbox as normal. Don't forget to put the all of the information in. Make sure you resize them as you should accordingly, etc. Everything, for those who don't know, everything's on the website in the members area of how you need to resize them. Make sure that you read Jill's email she sent out about a week ago. I think it was over the weekend, with reference to all of the competitions up to the end of the year. We've sent that out so that you do know exactly where you are and what you've got coming up to the end of the year. So everything's set there now. So you've got everything so that you know what to do. Have a look at them. Any questions, get in touch with Jill or myself. Excuse me. And we'll go on from there. Right, what I'm going to do first is say welcome to Mark, because Mark's just popped in my icon as I was about to start. The judge for this competition was Ron Abbott. Ron Abbott is a member of the LPA committee, we got him to judge this one. As I said earlier, for those who weren't here, he did feel that he had a few too many entries for him to manage in the way that we've asked him to judge them. So correspondingly, we took that third image off. So for those who have come to us late, make sure that your weakest image is always the third one. Because when Jill knocks them off, she will knock number 3 off, so that will be the first one to go. Right, Ron has sent us a little explanation, and he's entitled it Ron's Explanation of Judging the Grahame Transport Competition. I said competition because basically you can't see what else it said on there. He said, excuse me, I have found the experience of judging images sitting in front of a computer screen very different from judging in front of an audience after a drive up from Boston. At a club meeting, a judge gets one run through of PDIs, that's the looking at them beforehand, before launching into judgment. With prints, it's often possible to look through them 2 or 3 times. With PDIs at home, I can look at the images as many times as I like, and I can magnify them to look very closely. I may have seen things I'd have missed at a live meeting. In other words, if you'd come to us, because this is a live meeting, isn't it, folks? I've also used Google to check a few facts. I've never used Google to judge a competition yet, so well done, Ron. Audience reaction also plays its part. It's possible to gauge the atmosphere in the room to decide whether I'm on the right track. Whispers can also help, and I can change tack. Of course, this isn't Paris at all. It's Blackpool. Laughter. And I carry on. Often gasps can be heard, which makes me modify what I'm saying. I have found that writing something down is much more difficult than speaking off the cuff. Remember the line from Bob Dylan's With God on Our Side? No, sorry, Ron, I don't remember the words. The words fill my head and drop to the floor. Judging in front of an audience, the words drop to the floor, but when they drop on a keyboard, they're permanent. At a meeting, I can be challenged at the end. I don't mind people coming up to me to discuss images I've found it hard to interpret. Thank you for asking me to judge this competition. Around my house are models of cars, trucks, buses, railway locomotives, and strictly not in this competition for some reason, aircraft. It's been an interesting and rewarding experience. Ron Abbott, who now is a member of the Pinchbeck photographic group since Horncastle closed. So I'll launch into the comments and start with, make sure I've got the right ones. Yep, I've got the colour ones here. Now what you will see this evening is the mouse going across the screen, because I'm using two screens and I'm having to scroll on both screens. So do apologise. I will apologise for the this going over the top. So I'm just going to get rid of that, revealing this first image. I'll make it full screen, and for those of you who want to make a lot of a big rush to get your sheet with all of the titles etc on them, do it now, because I'm just about to start. Right, number one in the colour section is 1959 Bel Air. And of course all of the comments that I read out are not my comments, they are Ron's comments, of course. So the colour pink slaps you between the eyes. This Chevrolet has a taxi sticker on its windscreen, but looking at the elastic band on the steering wheel and the wires dangling below the dashboard, I don't think I'd feel safe. The rear view mirror shows a classy building with a balustrade, in contrast with the less salubrious constructions in front. I wonder what was cloned out to the left of the car in front. So what he's referring to is this little area here. Until he mentioned it, of course, I wasn't looking. But like he said, what you can do when you have it on the screen like this, you can just zoom in and you can see the areas that have been cloned or changed or whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to do that again. We'll just go through the images as is. So the 1959 Bel Air, and I don't know the authors, so sorry I can't give you the authors' names because I've not printed that off, else it would be another list I'd have to look at. So 1959 Bel Air gets 14 points. The next image, which is a typical scene at Bury South, I'm going to pass by very quickly because that one's been held. The next one is battery versus pedal power. With no other souls in sight, a couple pass a line of bicycles. At the moment the photo was taken, the man on the scooter closed his eyes. The woman behind him also seems not to be looking anywhere. They look so isolated on a huge pavement. Are they discussing whether to go inside for a coffee? Behind them can be seen BBC Radio Lincolnshire Studios. Time stands still. And number 3, battery versus pedal power, gets 14. Just move down one. Number 4, Budapest tram. A few people are walking along the House of Parliament, while in the foreground, devoid of people, a tram en route number 2 passes. The driver just visible. A dramatic sky completes the picture. The viewpoint is ideal. From the dome of the building to the line of wires which power the tram. The tram windows reflect another aspect of the city. The passengers cannot be seen. And number 4, Budapest tram, gets 16. The next one is number 5, Cuban Life. And Cuban Life is being held. The next one, number 6, is Cycling Beside the Brayford. And number 6 has been held. just move on, move down a little. Right, number 7 is early Foden cab and trailer. An excellently prepared vehicle on display at a show, bright and shiny with the driver on board. Not only is the cab attractive, so are the food outlets. We can see the tuck shop and Italian ice cream. This gives us the context of a good day out. Even the coloured tarpaulin on the trailer shines. I've got a hat like the drivers. Right. So early Foden cab and trailer gets 15. I'm just going to, if you'll just excuse me a second, I'm just going to take my picture off the corner, which I've forgotten to do. So, there we go. So, right, the next one is escalator. That's number 7. And we're passing that one because number 7 has been held back. Sorry, number 8, escalator. Do apologise. Number 9, horse-drawn. The horse and the 2 helmeted girls are making eye contact with the photographer and are obviously pleased to be noticed. The passengers are relating to each other. The main point of interest is the girl with the whip, a pleasant country park setting. And horse-drawn gets 16. This next one, number 10, is Humber car. This car has seen better days. It's all right, I turned to look at it then. This car has seen better days. The low, close-up viewpoint emphasises the bulk of the vehicle and shows up the chrome bumper well. However, the bodywork needs attention and the radiator grille too. This highlights how a once fine-looking car now has only its colour scheme to draw our attention. Nowadays we consider bonnet mascots a danger, but this one adds to the car's charm. Humber car gets 15. Right, this next one is I see no ships. As a means of transport, this wheel looks decidedly dodgy. It begs the questions how you'd get anywhere and how long it would take you. And how comfortable the journey. How comfortable the journey, right? I'm always amazed at the newfangled machinery street artists come up with to baffle our minds. Perhaps the ships he can't see are another form of transport. I see no ships gets 14. I've lost my way. There we go. Let me just move up. Just go back. Sorry folks, just a little hitch there. Right, number 12, it's wet on top. So number 12, it's wet on top. The bright blue colour of the bus makes it stand out on a rainy day. The driver's head is obscured by the mirror. We can see most passengers have scrunched themselves together on the lower deck. But the brave, mostly hooded few on top have a better view, and there are even a couple of smiles up there. I loved Viral when I was a boy. It was syrup of figs I couldn't stand. And It's Wet on Top gets 15. Right, on to the next one. Number 13. Journey's End. A tragic image. the car seems to have been rear-ended into the hedge, the force of the incident forcing straw into the door. The police signs mean the accident hasn't just happened. There are bits of Vauxhall all around. It makes us hope those inside the car were not seriously harmed. Journey's End gets 16. Right, the next one, number 14, Kampala Highway, has been held back, so you'll see that later. Number 15, Keeping Fit in Lockdown. How far do you have to go to find someone wearing sandals riding a tricycle? It's as good as when you're on holiday and you see people in sandals wearing socks. Right, I'll start again for you. How far do you have to go to find someone wearing sandals riding a tricycle? The angle of the shot and the shadow make a pleasing composition. The rider is clearly aware of the photographer, and the glint in his eye and the smile playing around his lips looks as if he's bemused you are paying him some attention. Over lockdown, I've been aware of more and more people walking and cycling. I hope we keep up the fitness regime when it's all over. So Keeping Fit in Lockdown gets 16. Just move on. Lindsay. The close selection concentrates the view on the shapes and the colours. The colours really stand out. You've chosen symmetry, and this encouraged me to look to see where it isn't symmetrical. Like the dents in the chrome work, this vehicle has been about doing its work. Nostalgic to see the words British trademark. For those who possibly can't see it, it's just along this top here. So Lindsay gets 15. The next one is number 17, MGTF 1500. A beautifully kept sports car from yesteryear. The fact that there's rain on it enhances the paintwork. It's always difficult to isolate one vehicle at such shows, but by tight cropping you've minimised the distractions. I wonder what the piece of equipment is behind the rear wheel. An MG TF 1500 gets 16. The next one is number 18, Motorbike Rally. Motorbike Rally has been held back. Right, number 19, On Our Way. All the work that goes into making a vintage vehicle immaculate, and it has to be driven on a day like this. The wake from the tyres shows it's moving, with one fireman pointing the way to the driver. Although their firemen's outfits look authentic, the modern plastic ponchos they're wearing to try and keep dry stand out as odd. Suppose I could have used a bit of old plastic. Anyway, On Our Way gets 15 points. One Careful Lady Owner. I've just seen Doreen's comments. I always wear socks with my sandals. Right, we'll move on swiftly. One Careful Lady Owner. This is a very bold title to use. Poor vehicle. The hubcaps have gone, the paintwork's in a shocking state, and there's plenty of rust. The careful lady has tinted the rear windows to match the body colour. It looks as if the suspension's gone, yet the tyres aren't deflated. I wonder if it's still being driven about. One careful lady owner gets 16 points. The next one is painted. Has any car been so mistreated since John Lennon's Rolls Royce? A pianist on the bonnet, a lady on the driver's door, many swirls of contrasting colours, and even a driver's face painted on the window. It looks as if it's in a motor museum, but there are no other vehicles in shot. Is it a long fence actually marked long fence? To me, the scheme is not pleasing, but it was probably its bizarre appearance that attracted you. I like the white wall tyres. Painted gets 14. The next one is number 22, parked up. And parked up has been held back. The next one is a pink and leafy. Pink and leafy. The bike is very tight in the frame, but I don't know what there was around it. It has been tastefully decorated with a floral theme. I like the flower on the right pointing in the direction of travel, and the way the ivy has been used to disguise the way the bike is being held upright. It took me a little time to work that out. The lighting is a little bit flat though. Pink and leafy gets 15. Number 24, private charter. Usually things going away from the viewer are less interesting than those coming forward. However, the interest in this journey isn't the locomotive, but the gentlemen sitting round a table, with their pint glasses. Another rail enthusiast is looking out of a window, his elbows resting on the window frame. There's just a glimpse of one of the engine crew. It shows us what we need to know about this particular excursion. And private charter gets 17. I can see we've got a bit of a conversation going on there, folks, about sandals and socks. Well done. Right, the next one. Moving on swiftly. Red Volvo from the 60s. The striking red colour of the car hits you. The driver's hand can be seen on the steering wheel. As with many classic cars, the badges are contemporary with the vehicle, with the AA and RAC standing out. The car is kept in immaculate condition and is well caught coming up the rise towards the photographer. I wonder why there's a crate in the road. Yeah, true. Maybe he's come round a bend and that's blocking the road off. I don't know. Anyway, red Volvo from the 60s gets 16. Riverboat, number 26. A tranquil scene with the smooth reflection of the narrowboat. The only sign of life is the smoke coming from the chimney. There's plenty of incidental detail in the background with a rusty incinerator and what could be a pizza oven. Does this mean this isn't a temporary mooring, but a home? The image has been well framed to include the reflection of the smoke at the bottom. Riverboat gets 15. Secrets of the Sand. Yes, a guessing game. What sort of transport is this? It's a tank. Sorry. Did it have wheels or tracks? What did it transport? It looks as if it was something heavy. Over the years, the metal has rusted to provide a rich colour, especially when brightly lit as it is here. It remains a mystery. Secret of the Sands gets 14. Sightseeing carriage, number 28. Sightseeing carriage has been held back. Right, number 29, take the tube. Contrast is well handled here. The word underground is very bright but has the right amount of dominance, 50-50. Sorry, 50-50 reflections like this lead to the eyes going from left to right and back again to contrast a sign with its own twin. There's different architecture behind each, giving us more information about the location. Take the tube got 14. Number 30 is tank. Movement is emphasised by the dust being kicked up behind the tank and the guy with the gun using one hand to hold himself steady. There's a lot of motion blur here and very little of the image has sharp focus. The vehicle has been well camouflaged with foliage. I wonder how the driver can see where he's going. Is he looking through binocular periscopes? Time to take cover. And tank gets 14. Number 31, the Calderdale Express. The deep colours give an atmosphere to this image. The viewpoint doesn't show us the path being driven on, but tells us a lot about the location from the ornate and substantial wall with its urns in the background to the wild meadow in the foreground. The face of only one passenger can be seen and the driver is in shadow. The enjoyment of riding in the train is not apparent. The Calderdale Express gets 15. Number 32, Tractor Ride, has been held back. Transport going up in the world, number 33. The height and distance of the cable car ride come over in this picture. The car itself is portrayed with every detail from top to bottom. If only the faces of the passengers could be seen either smiling with exhilaration or pale with fear. Transport going up in the world gets 15. Transporting earth on building site. Just have a quick slurp. The bulk of the soil and rubble emphasises the power needed by the hydraulics to shift it. Good timing as the load crashes to the ground. The blue cloudy sky is a good backdrop to this image, and the grasses and poppies in the foreground provide a pleasing base. Shows how we've improved on men with barrows and shovels. Transporting earth on building site gets 17. Travelling the river in the evening. The man with the paddle is clearly aware of the photographer. The water droplets coming off the paddle show he's putting in the effort. maybe because it looks as if he's paddling up a slope. He's wearing the right safety gear and seems to be enjoying the trip. It's customary to have more space ahead of a moving object than behind it to help the eye follow the direction of travel. 15 points. And your last one, number 36, vintage Fordson Major. A vehicle which has seen much service over many years. Note the smashed headlight and the faded number plate. This sort of display brings joy to elderly farmhands. What do you mean elderly, Ron? I can remember those. Yeah, elderly farmhands. Probably the best viewpoint you could get, though the large white wheel on the right is prominent. Good detail. And vintage Fordson Major gets 16 points. So things will just disappear for a minute while I just get you up the entries next, which he frantically works on. So we shall just go into that folder. We shall go into this folder. We shall open that one up. So the first one of the images that have been held back in tonight's competition is Escalator. And all these are in is just the order that Ron's given me them in. So we'll see as we go along, scores, etc. So, escalator, a moving staircase. Escalator transports people from one level to another, and it's interesting to note the manner of their journey. The walls are covered in adverts, but only one person, bottom left, is looking at them. The great British public are obeying the stand on the right notices. The majority seem to be travelling by themselves, alone in a crowd, each with their own destination. The lines converge to a point where we see only the ceiling. The LNER jacket is another transport link. I was looking for that whilst I was talking. So escalator gets 18. Kampala Highway, number 14. What a triumph to make that load balance. This viewpoint both emphasises the odd method of transporting tyres and also emphasises the hazards the rider of the vehicle has to face and the dangers posed to those who overtake him. It's also apparent that vehicles are pulling onto and off this road. It's not a straightforward run. The shadow emphasises the difference between the length and the width of vehicles and tyres. I hope he's got to his destination safely. And Kampala Highway is 18 points. Motorcycle Rally, number 18. Just as a matter of interest, Jill, if you could just put a little list together in your chat ready for the end of these people, if you have it. That's if you have it, not don't go to a big effort, but if you've got it. Whoops, I've just lost everything. Everything's just coming back. Come on. I've lost my picture, so I'll get rid of it and put it up again. I just lost things there all of a sudden. Don't know why. Never mind. Right, motorbike rally. I like the perspective on this one. The long line of bikers in their black leathers, the interaction of the first biker with the steward, and the stewards and attenders attenders in the background. The way the gravel track has been constructed and the shadows enhance the composition. You have a stunningly blue bike in front, and the reflections of the sky on it completes an excellent image of transport. So motorbike rally is number 18, and it gets 18 points. The next one is number 28, which is called Sightseeing Carriage. The first thing to strike me is the horse's expression, obediently turning left. Then the cheery face of the driver who is pointing out the next item on the tour. Of the two passengers sitting with the driver, the lady is turning to listen to the commentary and the gentleman is staring excuse me, at what's coming next. Shame the people in the cheap seats don't have the same view. The carriage looks beautifully maintained, and the bright colours of the horse, carriage and its occupants make the main items of interest stand out in its context. So Sightseeing Carriage gets 18 points. Tractor Ride, number 32. I like the viewpoint of this one. The photographer not only set up in the right place, but waited till the tractor and trailer could both be seen to best advantage. The queue in the barn on the right and the people at the attractions on the left give us the context. How annoying was the person in the high-vis top also capturing this scene. So Tractor Ride number 32 gets 18 points. Cuban Life number 5. There's a lot to see in this image. First, the parked car. Its iridescent blue paint covering a lifetime of dents and scratches, but still looking a fine vehicle. The driver is looking downwards, probably at his phone. On the other side of the car, a pedestrian is also looking at a phone. Is this how they communicate? The wall is daubed with stark graffiti, one of which I don't understand, and one clearly Berlin. Put together, these elements make a coherent and interesting composition. So number 5, Cuban Life, gets 19 points. Cycling beside the Brayford. The shadows lengthen and the lone cyclist makes his way home along the centre of a paved street. It is the shadows that make this an interesting composition, giving a completely different perspective to the bench and the bin. The blues on the cyclist contrast with the warm tones of the flagstones. The cyclist is caught in just the right position, with his shadow reaching the far side of the paved area. A thoroughly pleasing image. So number 6, Cycling Beside the Brayford, gets 19. Parked Up. Parked Up is number 22, and Parked Up gets... he says, my eyes were first drawn to the rich colours in the foliage and ripples in the water. Then the transport theme satisfied by the mobility scooter. Next, the fact that the dog is on the scooter, presumably taking a rest from being taken for a walk as its master rides the scooter. I like the expression on its face, as if it's anxious to get going again. On the bench sits the master, enjoying the tranquility of the scene. It's an enjoyable grouping of different themes and colours. So number 22, Parked Up, gets 19. Number 2, a typical scene at Bury South. Call me a cynic, but I wondered how typical this scene is on the East Lancashire Railway. One of the problems with heritage railways is finding a viewpoint which contains nothing to clash with the era of the locomotives. In this picture, everything looks authentic. In addition, both locos are letting off a lot of steam. The signalman is looking out. There's a railway worker between the locos immersed in steam. It's the perfect realization of the glory days of steam. I wonder if they run special days for photographers. So number 2, a typical scene at Bury South, is our winner this evening in the colour section, and of course it gets 20 points. So extremely well done to everybody, and a great set of images, I must admit, and they it's just a shame that he couldn't show us the others. I've got a bit of time at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into the folder and show you the ones that were taken out. No, I'll show you them afterwards, because actually they're all mixed up. So the colour entries, let me just have a look. Oh no, they're not. So the colour ones that were taken out, I'll quickly go through them, and I'll leave them in this format as you can see on the screen, because I can then see the title, because I've got no words or anything on these. So just a very quick word from myself. Very nice image, yeah, well worthy of the competition, and we've got the front bike with a recession going back, so a great image. The next one is Clars and Fertiliser Spreader. Yeah, once again, another good worthy entry into the competition. We've just got a little bit more room in front, as we can see here, to what's behind, so that's really good as well. So that works right, etc, etc. Pleasing image, nice and sharp, got a nice shadow going back there, so that works okay. The next one is, do we want the Piccadilly line? Yeah, we got these two discussing it on the right hand side, and we've got the doors still open, ready for taking people in. Just wondering, has this lady, just wonder, it's a newspaper, I wondered whether she'd got a mask on. Sign of the times. But yeah, not a bad image. Tiny little bit soft on this sign here. The focus point has been taken from the middle of the image, so we have got a little bit of softness at the front here, but still a worthy competition entry. Jaguar, yeah, someone's gone in tight for the Jaguar sign. Now I don't know whether it was by choice, but the author has focused on the Jaguar itself here up at the top, which has made the actual sign here, Jaguar sign, soft. So I would have liked to have seen the two bit sharper, so a higher f-stop just to make it stand out a little bit more. Jolly Trolley, yeah, another pleasing image. Bit like Ron said, images possibly not as good from the back as the front, but at least it does give us all the signage and it's nice and sharp, etc. So well worthy of the competition again. Kit car. So we've got a nice badge of this kit car. Unfortunately, it's nice and sharp at the bottom here, and possibly up to the London maybe, but the Brighton kit car run bit is gone soft. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more depth of field just to make it nice and sharp. Lotus Ebora. Excuse me. Very nice car. Forget the critique. Just a very nice car. No, very nice car, and I like the way that you've got it in a nice setting. Maybe had you gone just a little bit lower, it would have put it in the modern car with the more older vehicles in the background. So, you know, just think about your positioning, but still very nice image. Nottingham tram. Yep, the Nottingham trams, they're up and down all day long. I like the way you've captured this one person actually as well, just moving down the side of the tram. Nice and sharp from back to front, and we've got a good clear, well, the detail on this one is spot on the front. You know, it's absolutely spot on, so well done. Passing the Brayford. Yeah, train passing the Brayford. We've just caught it spot on at this time, and we've got lots of elements in it. We've got the new bridge, the old cathedral, and then the train passing by. If at all possible, a little bit slower shutter speed, just to give an emphasis of a bit of movement on the train. Ready, steady, tuk tuk. Yeah, we've just got this back view of these vehicles going along. We can see all the smog, and even the smog coming out of this one. So very pleasing image. We've got a nice 4 here to look at, but we can go straight through the image and pick up the background. Refuse collection. Yeah, we've got matey in the lorry looking. We've got the one at the back doing his job. We've got the flashers on, nice and clear, and just nicely put in the centre. River cruising on a narrowboat. Yep, coming round the bend here. We've got good detail right throughout the boat, in the people, and this one just makes it a little bit more pleasing in the background. So well done on just waiting for that right moment, and we've just got a bit of room for it to move to in the front here. Taxi Maltese. Yeah, an image which has an effect of some sort on it, but nevertheless I quite like the effect. I think it's up to everybody to make their own mind up, but on this occasion it certainly works okay, so well done to the author. I appreciate you haven't got them all, the taxis in, but we have nicely got the back of the horse in, and we've got the emphasis of the taxi on this front one. What's this one? Taxi. Yep, there's a sign. It's nice to see the road as it's coming down there, and we can see down to where the car's got to. Possibly for me a little bit tight in the frame, but of course had you gone out wider you probably would have got these modern cars more in the background and more people. So, but nice colours and in a nice setting. The best of British. Yeah, the old Defender. In a foreign country, of course, because we've got these good old snow tyres on them, so it's nice, pleasing image. Little bit bright. I think you could have just taken it down just a tad, bright for me, but still a very nice image. Once again, just a little bit more in front than behind. Tractor ride. Yeah, we've got the tractor ride. Everything's clear from this lady in the front right through to the back here. So we've got excuse me, we've got everything nice and clear, and of course we've got all the waivers, so it just makes it a little bit more interesting. And the last one of the 3s that were taken off, waiting for high tide. Yeah, it's not motion wise, it's not moving, so the authors decided just about to put the same front and back, and it's a record shot of this boat, like the reflection in the water, and then we've got the seaside scene in the background, the sand and the buildings. So well done on those. So I'll just check. No, there's no more. So that was your winning image this evening. So let me just have a look at these. Lots of well dones to GH, and you've all by this time seen the scores and the people who have got in those top threes. But I must just say a big well done to all of those who entered anyway. You know, it really is hard to come up with something that just gets the judge's eye. So you've just got to try and think a little bit out of the box and get something that's a little different. So well done to everybody. We'll close now. What is it? It's about 10 to. So if we come back at 10 past, and so if you come back about 5 past, ready for 10 past, and we'll see you all in the second half. So well done to everybody. Well done to GH. And we'll see you in the second half. See you soon.